Hey, how's it going? Hey, look at you with your face. How you doing? Nick Digilio, that's me on YouTube channel. Thanks for checking that out. Please subscribe. More importantly, give some dough at Patreon. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Every little bit helps, keeps these things going. You get bonus videos and content that nobody else gets unless you become a patron and donate some dough. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Donate today, please. My podcast, The Nick D Podcast, part of the great Radio Misfits Podcast Network. You can subscribe to that anywhere and everywhere you get your podcasts. Every Tuesday and Friday, new episodes of that. Okay, the Oscars were last night. All right, well, obviously, apparently that's what everybody has to talk about. Okay, I don't know how many times I have to say I told you so, especially if you have defended Will Smith in the past in my presence. I don't know if I've ever told you what an egotistical jagoff I've always thought Will Smith was, what a phony, what a con man, and what an imperceivable asshole I've always thought Will Smith was. I don't know how many times I have to tell people that they should have known better, but I do every once in a while, and this is the case. Now, I never thought in a million years that the egotistical, untalented asshole that is Will Smith would walk up on stage and actually assault a comedian in front of millions and millions of people on live television at one of the most prestigious and classy events of the year and get away with it. I never thought he'd do that. I mean, I knew he was an untalented Hollywood prick. I knew that. But I really didn't think that he would do what he did last night. I never thought he would. And I don't know. Okay, one, I'm surprised, and two, I'm not. That's the shocking thing. That I really didn't think it was all that shocking that an untalented, egotistical, con man prick like Will Smith would walk up on stage and do what he did last night at the Academy Awards. So all the people out there who in the past have said, you're a little too hard on Will Smith, he's great, he makes great movies, he's very entertaining, he's funny, he and Jada, they're great together, and these kids are awesome, and he's a prick. And if you don't know that by now, especially after watching last night, I don't know what world you're living in. It was a shocking moment, not just in terms of what happened, not just in terms of the fact that an actor walked up on stage and smacked another actor across the face hard and then said fuck 3 times in front of millions of people on live television with rage in his eyes. Not only that, but it was one of those moments where everything that I ever thought about a certain person came to actual fruition. And all of the years, all of the many, many, many years that I have been saying this and been told that I'm an asshole and I'm this and I'm that, I was proven right. So there was validation that I felt in addition to the shock and the anger and the disbelief of what I was seeing. But for some reason, it didn't seem all that far-fetched. Like when I sat there for a couple seconds after it all happened and trying to process what happened, and I was just like, wow, what the fuck just happened? And then finally I was like, yeah, that's about right. All right, so the Oscars were last night. None of the winners were surprises. I'll get to asshole Will Smith in a minute. Jessica Chastain, who made a lovely, lovely speech, who actually talked about everything that was beautiful and nice, as opposed to what Will Smith did. She won, which was not a surprise. Adapted screenplay went to Coda because it was Coda's night, and it was nominated for 3 Academy Awards. It won all 3 of them. If the director had been nominated, Jane Campion wouldn't have won last night, and Power of the Dog would have been completely shut out. People like the Coda. I don't know what to tell you. I like it. It's not a Best Picture movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's fine. One of the biggest crimes of the night was that original screenplay went to Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. Now, I understand that a lot of people, I don't know what Paul Thomas Anderson has to do to win an Oscar, but, it took like 30 years it took over 30 years for Scorsese to win one. So that's the way I'm going to look at it. Because, as great a filmmaker as Scorsese is, Paul Thomas Anderson is his equal in every way, and they just won't give him a fucking Oscar. But I understand that. But the fact that that it was not, because the other nominees, except the fact that if it was going to lose, it should have lost to the worst person in the world, not to fucking Belfast. So Kenneth Branagh winning for Belfast was a joke. Troy Costner winning for Coda, supporting actor, not a surprise. Lovely moment in the show. Ariana DeBose, nobody thought anybody was going to win Best Supporting Actress but her. Director went to Jane Campion, and she deserved it. And made fun of Kevin Costner too. Ooh, that was very dramatic. One of my favorite moments of the show was Jane Campion, just like, Kevin Costner, you couldn't direct traffic, you fucking moron. Kevin Costner. What an idiot. My favorite moment of the night, international picture, best foreign film, whatever you want to call it, went to Drive My Car. And I was just happy that it won an award. It was nominated in 4 categories, 3 very major categories, and it won. It won best foreign film, which it should have. I thought maybe that worst person in the world might get in there and win it, but it didn't. And that was my favorite moment of the entire night, was when Drive My Car won best foreign film. And then they tried to play off the director like 9 times. But, he was up there trying to talk. He doesn't really speak English that well, which is why his interpreter, who he didn't use the whole time, people were probably like, who's a woman taking notes? Why is there a woman up there taking notes with him? Oh, that's his interpreter. But he never used the interpreter. He was trying to speak English the whole time, and she was up there in case he wanted to, go to his native Japanese. But he never did. Well, one, because he had trouble with English, and he tried to do it in English the whole time, and then they played him out. They played him off because they were like, "He must be done. Play him off." Anyway, that was awards-wise, that was the best moment. And then Coda wins Best Picture. All right, so let's get to Will Smith. Not surprised at all that Will Smith won, so here's the thing. Like I've said before, I have been saying for years that Will Smith is a no-talent douchebag fuckhead who not only doesn't deserve any kind of praise at all, but is one of those Hollywood people that makes me crazy. That he just oozes con man sensibility, insincerity, egotism. He and Jada Pinkett have always been a couple that rubbed me the wrong way. They always felt like assholes to me. Their kids are assholes. I just don't like them. I don't know what the details are or whatever. They have an open marriage, whatever the fuck all that is. I don't care. But they just come off as 2 condescending, no talent, coasting con men jagoffs that represent everything that I hate about Hollywood: the insincerity, the egotism, the fact that they consistently, but he consistently makes really, really shitty movies. He's really shitty in them, and he's never, ever been good enough for any kind of award. And his actions last night were astonishing. So for people who might not know, Chris Rock got on stage. He was presenting Best Documentary. And he made some jokes, and one of the jokes was that Jada Pinkett Smith, who has a disease that makes her lose her alopecia, that has made her lose her hair, and he made a joke and said that, "Hey Jada, G.I. Jane 2 is going to be great." Everybody laughed, including fucking Will Smith, who was like, ha, 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 ha. If you go back and watch the footage, he's laughing his ass off. Then he gazed over at Jada Pinkett, and Jada Pinkett was not laughing. So Will Smith suddenly became the defender of Jada Pinkett, who clearly it was going to be a bad ride home if he didn't do something. It was going to be a real bad night at the Pinkett Smith household. So to defend his wife, he walked up on stage and he smacked the comedian across the face, and then walked off stage. And when Chris Rock was like, "Well, you just slapped the shit out of me. What the fuck?" He screamed 3 times, "Keep your wife's mouth. Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." Twice on live TV, screaming "fuck," to the point where ABC had to cut away, blank it off for 45 seconds, almost a minute, leaving millions of people at home wondering what the hell is going on. And then Will Smith continued to scream and rant, and Jada Pinkett, all pissed off, at what was maybe an ill-timed joke, yes. Tasteless joke, probably. Something that Jada Pinkett is very, very sensitive about, absolutely. Should Chris Rock have made the joke? Probably not. But Should Will Smith have walked up on stage and smacked him across the face? Absolutely not. So you got a problem with the joke? You know what? That's what comedians do. And let me put it to you this way. Mel Gibson walked up on stage after Ricky Gervais ripped him apart and called him a racist and a drunk and everything. Walked out on stage and did not hit Ricky Gervais. And Ricky Gervais did not back down. I'll just put it to you this way. If Ricky Gervais is still alive after hosting the Golden Globes for 4 years in a row or whatever he did, and then just get, this is just the example, okay? So what Will Smith should have done as a fucking normal human being, not an untalented, egotistical prick, which he is, not a fucking psycho, which he is, if he's got a problem with Chris Rock, you wait till after the show. You talk to him at an after party. You pull him aside and say, hey, dude, I didn't like that very much. What the fuck is wrong with you? You get angry with him that way. You want to hit him? Go to a private place, talk to him. If it turns into a fight, it turns into a fight. That's how you handle it like a professional. You pull the guy aside after the festivities, after you win your Oscar for Best Actor and make your impassioned speech. You pull him aside and you say, hey, dude, I didn't appreciate what you did. That wasn't cool. They know each other. Boom. But no. This maniac gets up on stage and slaps the shit out of him in front of millions of people. So, not only is it wrong on every level, not only did it confirm everything that I've ever thought about what an asshole, a talentless asshole Will Smith is, but it also derailed the rest of the show. It also, Questlove won an Academy Award for his documentary. 30 seconds after that happened, completely overshadowed. Nobody will remember that ever. Fucking Questlove's movie, Summer of Soul, is a terrific documentary, and that moment is taken away because Will Smith walked up on stage and smacked Chris Rock across the face. Nobody else really remembers anything else. Everything else is just kind of a blur. All the stuff that they tried to do in between, which didn't work, and I'm not even going to get into all of that. I mean, the fact that the show was running, before this happened, the show was running 40 minutes late. And this is after the Academy decided that they were going to cut 8 presentations, which they kind of did and kind of didn't. That was a fucking train wreck. But the show went over 45 minutes long in ABC and especially the Academy's effort to cut it, which didn't work. The structure of the show was a mess. The 3 hosts were terrible. Regina Hall's bit about groping men during COVID went over like a lead balloon, and wasn't funny at all. Amy Schumer got a couple of good zingers off that clearly weren't written by her. They were written by a staff. She got a couple of good zingers off in her part of the monologue. Wanda Sykes was completely wasted. There was a weird filmed thing where she visits a museum that didn't work. When they all came out in costume, she came out as Will Smith. Regina Hall came out as Jessica Chastain, and the incredibly unfunny Amy Schumer came down from the ceiling dressed as Spider-Man. That bit didn't work. Amy Schumer's attempt to kind of talk about what happened afterwards in one of her monologues, where she tells Kirsten Dunst to get up off her chair and she sits down, talks to Jesse Plemons. That didn't work. The fact they had a DJ in the first part of, the fact that they were going to go 3 hours and have different music for each hour didn't work at all. The DJ was stupid and unbelievably, desperately trying to be hip. Having P. Diddy come out after the slap incident happened and introduce The Godfather with weird hip hop that was, and then Coppola comes out, De Niro and Pacino, they don't say anything, they just kind of stand there, like all of that shit. But anyway, before the incident happened, it was just gonna, it has turned into a really horrible, desperately bad. In the first half hour, one award was given. They opened the show with an awful 9-hour Beyonce performance that was videotaped, that wasn't live. Again, let Beyonce do whatever the fuck she wants to do because she's Beyonce. Fuck her. And that was terrible. The monologues were bad. So in the first half hour, they did a bunch of stupid shit that made no sense, trying to be hip, and it didn't work, none of it. And they gave away one award in a year where they said that they wanted to cut things to make things move along. It didn't take very long for me to really miss the bus station from last year where they did the show, more masks and no hosts. I was longing for last year's broadcast after a half an hour, and it just got worse. And it kept getting worse. Hey, let's look at James Bond. Let's look at clips of James Bond that we've seen 9,000 times. The In Memoriam, which happened after the slap, so people probably wouldn't even pay attention, was a disaster. People dancing and running around, and you could barely see the image of the montage of the people who actually died. The highlight of that for me was Jamie Lee Curtis coming out with the dog. That was the highlight of the whole thing, even though Betty White was mostly a TV actress. I don't know, just me. So the In Memoriam was a disaster. Everything about the show was a train wreck. No pun intended, because Amy Schumer was one of the hosts. Reminding everyone just how unhip and stupid the Oscars can be and just how long and boring the show can be. Hey, it's all back to normal. And then Will Smith walks up on stage and slaps the shit out of Chris Rock. It's appalling. It is it is disgusting. It was unbelievable. And again, I was surprised yet not surprised. So the thing is that there was a movie last night that got ignored except for one major award, and that was Jane Campion's The Power of the Dog. The Power of the Dog is an incredible, insightful movie about the horrors of toxic masculinity. And that movie basically walked away with nothing. It did not win anything. And to sum up how most people in Hollywood feel about that is the fact that this incredible film about the evils of toxic masculinity is basically shut out. And a toxic male walked up on stage, slapped the shit out of a comedian in front of millions of people on live TV, and that was okay. That was okay. So he wins Best Actor. He's not asked to leave. He wasn't escorted out. They acted as if nothing happened, and they acted as if that kind of behavior, that toxic masculinity, that type of behavior, with the incredible rage, the F-bombs being dropped, the screaming, the slapping of someone, they acted as though that was okay, like that was fine. And then they give him an award and they let him get up on stage and in one of the most uncomfortable and awful Oscar acceptance speeches I've ever seen in my life, come off even worse. They give him a standing ovation in the theater. They allow him to speak after what he did. And that is, to me, sums up everything. It sums up everything. Power of the Dog, a powerful film about the horrible world of toxic masculinity, is shut out. But a man gives a prime example of toxic masculinity, and he's given an award and allowed to stay and given a standing ovation. It's fucking unforgivable. It is fucking unforgivable. So, not surprised by Hollywood's response to it. And here's the other thing that's amazing to me is in this time where, and Hollywood is known for this, for their movements, for their ribbons, for their speeches, for them, getting behind movements, in the past few years, the Me Too movement, and so on and so forth. And but for something like this to happen without any acknowledgement, except for maybe a reference or two. Anthony Hopkins came out afterwards and was obviously briefed by a publicist to try and say something, or he tried to say something to maybe justify what Will Smith did, but didn't. It was after his acceptance speech. Hopkins came out and tried to fix it, but couldn't. Listen, when Anthony Hopkins can't fix something, it's Silence of the Lambs. But, anyway. So everything that Hollywood is supposed to stand for, and their movements, and their ribbons, and their speeches, it all kind of was shattered last night in an obvious way that people should expect. It was a sad display on every level. The show itself, without the slap, was exactly what it was before last year, and everybody thought it was going to change. It didn't. It was bloated. It was convoluted. There were things in it that shouldn't have been in there. They did a song from Encanto for some reason that wasn't even nominated, and they just did it. They added stuff that they didn't need to add, wacky bits. Hey, James Bond, let's show a bunch of clips that everybody on Earth has seen 9,000 times before. So it was just going to be your average shitty Academy Awards ceremony. Again, proving that them cutting those 8 awards given out were a mistake because the show was going to be bloated and long and, pompous anyway, which it proved to be. So everything that's wrong with Academy Awards, ceremonies was wrong last night until it went off the rails completely and became symbolic about what is wrong in Hollywood and kind of what is wrong in the world. So anyway, there it is. I don't even know what to say here, except that it was an embarrassment. Except that I've been right about Will Smith now for fucking years. And I was surprised yet not surprised because it's Will Smith. And I don't know what the consequences are going to be. I'm pretty sure that the PR people are going to twist it, and Will Smith and Chris Rock will have photo ops together, and they'll laugh about it. Ha ha ha! Wasn't that funny? Hoo hoo ha hee! Then there are a lot of people out there who think it was staged. Maybe it was. Seemed real to me, but maybe they worked it out. Chris Rock's either the greatest actor in the afterwards, trying to desperately get back on track and focus after being smacked the shit out of the guy who's going to win best actor of the night. Seemed pretty genuine to me that Chris Rock was really flustered and could barely even function after it happened. So I don't know, for the people out there who were like, I think it's fake and blah, blah, blah. All right. Okay. So anyway, so the Oscars, special year this year, but for all the wrong reasons. I will be talking about it on my podcast. I'm probably going to be doing another video live or something on Facebook about this. But yeah, what could have been just an unmemorable, boring. They're going to prove themselves wrong by cutting those 8 awards. Turned into a complete and utter jaw-dropping train wreck. Thank you to Will Smith. Not surprised, as I've said before. Not surprised at all. Okay. All right, there you go. Hey, sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm right.